rocket from Lebanon, I am all bricked up. We got Israelis getting into ambulances. Israelis are getting into wambulances. Oh my God. We should probably bomb that ambulance. That's probably Hamas. Can you believe that these fucking Israelis are using human shields? Can you believe that they're hiding their terrorists in ambulances, acting like they're hurt on the way to the hospital? I don't buy it. A rocket from Lebanon struck a soccer field on Saturday in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. Oh, that's right, occupied territory. That's so wonderful. That's right. It's almost like Israel doesn't belong in the Golan Heights. It's almost like the chosen people in their poopy land are actually illegal and they don't belong. Why do they keep dying? Why is there so much death and carnage? Oh, because that's what happens when you ethnically cleanse people. Right. It's what's considered a f***ing war crime. Oh, that's right. Mostly teenagers and... Oh my God. Mostly teenagers and children? Wait. Israeli children have been killed? According to it's according to the Israeli military. Oh, okay. So none of this is real. Got it. So you're full of shit. It was the deadliest single attack since Holocaust. Remember how they say that? Oh, it was the deadliest attack since Holocaust. It was the deadliest attack since the last deadliest attack since the Holocaust. It was the deadliest single attack from across Israel's northern border in months of hostilities and raised fears of an escalation in the conflict. Oh my God. Israeli officials accused Hezbollah, the politically powerful Lebanese armed group, of firing the rocket and vowed to respond. Hezbollah denied responsibility, although the group did say it had launched several barrages of missiles at northern Israel on Saturday. Could it be that in the confusion, the disarray of the attack, that the IDF used the opportunity to conduct a false flag operation on its own citizens in order to incite a pretext for escalation against Lebanon? Was there some sort of malfunction? I mean, was it a stray rocket from the IDF? Oh, it's so funny that now the IDF is being accused of what it accused Hamas of. I love that. Just like they blame Hamas on October 7th. There's evidence pointing towards a fallen, misfired Iron Dome missile. Oh, wow. Yeah. This has shit stinking all over it. This reeks of IDF false flag type shit. Israel got rizzed. The Israeli Emergency Rescue Service, Magen David Adom, what a beautiful name, just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Said that in addition to the 12 dead, about 20 people had been wounded, some of them seriously, in the Druze town of Majdal Shams. The Israeli military said that the ages of those killed or wounded ranged from 10 to 20 years old, and they had been playing soccer at the time of the attack. Wow. Idan Avshalom, a paramedic with Magen David Adom, Blagam Bligam Blugam, described a gruesome scene at this soccer field. Well, I've got a gruesome scene I could show you. Idan, 25 miles long by 5 miles wide. Even as Israel has waged a nearly 10-month-long war with Hamas in Gaza to the south, it has traded fire with Hezbollah to the north. Both groups are backed by, course, New York Times. The story would not be complete without a Iranian-backed phrase. We have to talk about backed by Iran. All right, just in case anyone ever forgets anything ever, remember that Hezbollah is backed by Iran. It is an Iranian-backed militia, and therefore they are part of the axis of terror. Thank you. Israel's regional adversary. Hezbollah began shooting missiles and drones at Ismail shortly after Hamas launched its Octagon 7th attack that set off the war in Gaza. For months, the well-armed Hezbollah has fired thousands of missiles and drones at I-State in solidarity with H Group, leading tens of thousands of Smellies to evacuate their homes. I-Smell has retaliated in Lebanon, devastating towns near the border, prompting more than 90,000 to flee north and killing more than 460 people, mostly militants. Sure thing, bro. Cool story. At the same time, the two sides have sought to avoid igniting a full-blown war, which would likely devastate both I-Smell and Lebanon. But experts have warned that a deadly miscalculation could ignite a broader escalation. And on both sides of the border, Israelis and Lebanese were left wondering on Saturday night whether the attack on Majdal Shams was just that. Well, you know what they say, when a genocidal apartheid state starts carrying out a genocide and occupying people and being a complete belligerent, then when they invite attacks against their territory and make their citizens less safe. Kind of their fault. I love Prime Minister Antichrist. He's already just going around making the rounds in the United States, going to Mar-a-Lago, going to D.C., trying to shore up his American constituents, groveling on behalf of the state of Israel. He met Trump, who is a candidate. He's not even president. He had to go make sure that, just in case, he had to go talk to Trump as well. He's been in the U.S., where he has spent the last few days meeting with President Biden and Donald J. Trump, who is running for president again. Mr. Satan's office said he had instructed that his return flight be made as early as possible. Israel will not overlook this murderous attack, Mr. Satan said in a statement distributed by his office. Hezbollah will pay a heavy price. I'm still workshopping my Satan impression. It sucks, I know. Our favorite, Rear Admiral Daniel There Is a List Hagari, the Israeli military spokesman, told reporters that the rocket that struck the soccer field was an Iranian model, a Falakawan, that carried a 50-kilogram warhead. He said that only Hezbollah possessed these rockets in Lebanon. We will act to restore full security on our northern border. It must be hard just like constantly putting out fires, right? You'd think that Israel would just get tired after a while, don't you think? Wouldn't you think, though? Like, it must be tiring trying to keep up the state of Israel, you know? Because it sort of seems like it's propped up by violence. And specifically, a monopoly on violence, which is slowly eroding. In fact, it's already has eroded. Because we all know that Iran and its axis of resistance is going to clap those Israeli chai cheeks. Iran about to turn Israel into a booty clapper. Israel about to get those cheeks clapped. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I know. Israel seized the Golan Heights from Syria during the 1967 war, and it is home to more than 20,000 Druze Arabs. Israel effectively annexed the territory in 1981, a move that was widely rejected by the international community. Somehow that escaped my memory just now. I just learned that Israel effectively annexed the territory in 81. But you know, in 1982, just a year later, they're at war with Lebanon. So nearly 4 decades later, Trump signed a proclamation recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the plateau. Of course, you heard Trump congratulate himself and anoint himself to sainthood when he starts talking about his track record with Israel as he sits across from Prime Minister Antichrist at Mar-a-Lago a couple days ago, talking about how we did the Golan Heights, and then we did East Jerusalem, like he's calling out the songs that, you know, his band played for the concert, and then we played this one, and then we did this war crime, and he's talking about how Trump signed, you know, a proclamation recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the plateau. So this is in violation of international law, okay? So the entire international community has recognized that Israel is in violation of law, of international law, of humanitarian law, by occupying specifically the Golan Heights, which we should look at, you know, because just to know here, a brief history of the Golan Heights, as told by the New York Times, I don't think so. Let's look at it on a map. I don't want this map. Is the Golan Heights. I don't know can y'all see that? Golan Heights. So that was annexed by Israel in 1981, effectively. So let's keep going. Nearly 4 decades later, Trump signed a proclamation recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the plateau, but other powerful countries have not followed suit. Yeah, you don't say. Neither does the international community at large. There are 4 Druze villages in the Golan. Their Arabic-speaking residents practice a largely esoteric religion that is often described as an offshoot of Ismaili Islam. While many residents feel loyal to Syria, thousands have become Israeli citizens. Residents of the town of Majdal Shams expressed horror and sadness in the wake of the deadly strike. I didn't expect that our village would be hit, but it's happened now. An owner of a falafel and hummus hummus? Well, that restaurant was hummus, and we condemn hummus. So this makes sense, actually, that this would be hit. No one is protected. It doesn't matter if you're living in a Druze or Jewish village. Crazy, huh? Mr. Shayer, a father of 3, said that his daughter frequently played at the soccer. What you got? Mr. Shayer, a father of 3, said his daughter frequently played soccer, but she was not there on Saturday. Well, thank God, Mr. Shire. Woo. Creamy hummus is deliciously dangerous. In a Facebook post, the Majd al-Sham's local council said that a dark day had befallen the village and called on people to stay in their homes. Hezbollah has denied response. Do you believe Hezbollah? I believe Hezbollah. Condemn hummus or you will falafel. The Biden admin has sought to mediate a truce between Israel and Hezbollah, including by dispatching Amos Hochstein, a senior advisor to the president, to meet with senior officials in Jerusalem and Beirut. Great, another Zionist. Amos Hochstein. Yeah, the Biden admin's gonna send someone to mediate the truce between Israel and Hezbollah. Oh, really? Who are they sending? Amos Hochstein? Yeah, certainly has no bias, that person, for sure. Sounds right. Sounds about white of the Biden administration. That sounds about white from the Biden administration. The Biden administration has sought to mediate the truce between Israel and Hezbollah, and they're sending their most neutral, even-handed diplomat. Oh, really? What's his name? Israel Zionstein. What'd you say? Israel Zionstein. He's gonna... Let's see what Israel Zionstein had to say. Who's also a national security advisor. Just kidding. That'd be funny, though, right? Israel Zionstein is the national security advisor for the United States. The United States will continue to support efforts to end these terrible attacks along the blue line. Remember, that blue line is blue, and it is a line, and that is top priority. The White House's National Security Council said in a statement on Saturday, referring to the demarcation between Israel, Lebanon, and the Golan Heights. Play nicely, guys, okay? Marxism is a Jewish Zionist idea to enslave people. Thank you so much, Pekwo. I had to scoop out my brain to understand that take. How is the food at the kids' table? Is it chicken nuggets today? Oh my God, here's that word again, ironclad. Our support for Israel's security is ironclad. Ironclad, that's right, that's right. They say that, and it is, it's true. It is an ironclad, but sometimes the rhetoric gets a little weak. It doesn't sound so ironclad when it comes to rhetoric, does it? Iron-clapped. That's right. That's what Israel is, because they're getting those booty cheek claps. Hezbollah has said that it will not cease its attacks until Israel ends its campaign in Gaza, a prospect that remains remote. So the strike on Majd al-Shams was likely to increase the pressure on the Antichrist's government to respond more forcefully to Hezbollah's rocket and drone attacks, which have escalated in recent weeks. Nearly 10 months into the war, the roughly 60,000 Israelis evacuated from communities near the border remain displaced. The chosen people have evacuated from their promised land? But why? Can somebody please explain to me, why are the chosen people evacuating from their promised land, fleeing from the prospect of more terror and violence? I mean, I just can't wrap my mind around it. I mean, they have little idea of when they might return to the promised land? You promise? And some say only a major operation against Hezbollah will make them feel safe enough to go back home. Yes, we're gonna go back to Brooklyn. Call us when you can make us feel safe again, okay? Otherwise, I'm going back to Miami, bitch, okay? Take care of that whole Hezbollah situation, and then we can talk. But until then, the people of Yisrael Chai are calling for a major operation against the territories that we occupy and the people that are being all butthurt about it. I just don't feel safe anymore. I think I'm just gonna go back to my summer home in the Poconos. Yeah, it's just like, I have like 2 citizenships is all. Yeah. Right-wing Israeli lawmakers call for Israel Chai to launch a major military operation. Of course they did. Where are the what is it? Glaze a little smoke a dick. Of course the fascists, of course they're all fascists, but the really staunch fascists are calling for a major military operation in response to the strike. Here he is. Look, I swear I didn't even look ahead, but there it is. There's his name, Glaze a little smoke dick, loves to smoke the cock. A far-right government minister has argued for months that Israel should create a buffer zone inside Lebanon to drive Hezbollah away from the border. Now, there's nothing wrong with smoking cock, okay? I'm not here to yuck your yum. The reason that that's funny about Glaze a little smoke dick, I know his name is Bezalel Smotrich, right? But he's also homophobic, and so to make his name into, I don't know, a reference reference to being gay is just kind of funny to me, you know? It's like it would severely upset him, and that's what I want to do, you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So this little piss boy is the far-right government minister. I think he's the finance minister, if I remember correctly. The other one, of course, is, what's the dude's name? The guy that got in the car wreck? I banged his mom. What's his name again? The other douchebag. Well, you can say it. If you know it, just say it. That's right. BB's son is in Miami, just chilling. I think BB's son lives in Brickell, okay? Itamar Ben Queer. That's it. Again, nothing wrong with being queer, okay? Nothing wrong with being gay. We love our gay queens out there, and gay kings, and LGBTQ, all of that. But it's fun to call these people by the thing that they hate the most, is all I'm saying, all right? For the death of small children, Nasrallah should pay with his head, said Mr. Smoke-a-Dick. Mr. Smoke-a-Dick wrote on social media after the attack on Saturday, referring to Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah. Lebanon has a whole price to pay. So again, here we go. Let's ratchet up the genocide, right? Here we go. Every single, state surrounding Israel, must be met with disproportionate violence against the civilian population. So once again, uncategorically just clumping together the entirety of Lebanon. I mean, it's the same vibes as when the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog, after October 7th, said there is no distinction between civilians and Hamas combatants. We will treat them the same. In other words, we're going to shoot at anything that moves. We're going to destroy the entire civilization. And this is the same language they use towards Lebanon. You hear it from some of the worst people on the face of the earth. This far-right finance minister, Glaze a Little Smoke-a-Dick, says Lebanon as a whole has to pay the price. Well, what is the definition of genocide? I mean, these are the kinds of statements that people will look back to and say, yes, these were admissions of, policy decisions by the actual people that institute these policies. So, this is an admission. This would be an incriminating statement, in other words, against the Israeli state, against in its top officials. So Lebanon as a whole has to pay the price. Lebanon as a whole has to pay the price. Well, what is the definition of genocide? The definition of genocide is the destruction in part or in whole of an entire civilization. When you say Lebanon, the entire country of Lebanon must pay the price. The country entirely must pay the price. This is a common theme from the Israeli government, and we can see the same language from Ariel Sharon. Gadi Eisenkot is another one, obviously articulated the Dahaya doctrine. We go through this every day, right? It's the same old story. Remember that the Dahaya doctrine itself was formulated because of Lebanon, because of Hezbollah, because in 2006, not that this was already not known, because it was obviously, a very common thing that Israel should wreak disproportionate violence against civilian infrastructure in order to break the spirit, humiliate, punish, terrorize the civilians, and to break their will, and in order to force a political goal. In other words, that's literally terrorism. Right? The act of terrorism is violence against civilians in order to force a political goal or to achieve a political goal. And when you say that, and then you look at what the strategic policy of the IDF is, it amounts to international terrorism, and that's not anything different from the United States, of course. The United States is the world pioneer in that regard, and also the greatest threat to world peace. I'm focusing on Lebanon here. What would we say? Because the Dahaya doctrine, we talk about the Dahaya doctrine. Well, what is Dahaya? Dahaya is a neighborhood in Beirut. What is Beirut? A city in Lebanon. So when they were fighting against Lebanon, when they were fighting against Hezbollah in 2006, they were humiliated, they were losing, and that is when they articulated, not that they weren't already doing this, of course, but let's just see what the Wikipedia page says. It's an Israeli military strategy involving the destruction of civilian infrastructure in order to pressure hostile regimes. Of course, this is the language of colonialism.
Nixon ordered Cambodian genocide when sent cruise missiles to Sudan, people died. Gave the orders to do drone strikes.